Okay, let's plunge right in. We're looking at a text with just astonishing detail, basically the blueprint for this huge world-changing event, Exodus chapter 12.
Yeah, and it really lays out these step-by-step instructions for something immense.
It really does. And it doesn't, like, ease you in. Straight away, the Lord is speaking to Moses and Aaron. They're still in Egypt.
Right, and the very first command is, well, it's fundamental, change your calendar.
Exactly. This month, the one they're in, is now the first month of the year for them.
Yeah.
It's like, boom, history resets right here.
It totally ties their sense of time to this deliverance that's about to happen, a new beginning.
And that new beginning is immediately linked to this big ceremony. The whole community of Israel together.
The level of detail is just amazing, starting with the 10th day of this new first month.
This is where it gets super specific.
Yeah.
10th day, every man takes a lamb. One per family, basically. One for his household.
But it's practical too. If your household's too small for a whole lamb, then you share with your nearest neighbor. You figure out how much based on what each person is actually likely to eat.
So it's communal, but also really thought through for, like, individual needs.
Mm-hmm. And the lamb itself, it can't just be any lamb.
Right, there are rules.
Yeah.
Strict ones. It has to be a year-old male.
And absolutely perfect, without defect, without blemish, can be a sheep, can be a goat, but perfect.
Okay, so they choose this perfect animal on the 10th day, but they don't kill it then.
No, not right away. They have to care for it, keep it until the 14th day of the month.
4 days.
Yeah. And then on the evening of the 14th, the entire community, all of Israel, slaughters their lambs at twilight. It's this synchronized event.
Wow. And then maybe the most striking instruction. The blood.
The blood, yes. Take some of the blood from the slaughtered lamb.
And put it where?
On the door frames, specifically the sides and the top of the door frames of the houses where they're going to eat the lamb.
And later, Moses tells the elders how to do it, right? With hyssop.
Exactly. Use a bunch of hyssop. It's this plant, often used for purification. Dip it in the blood, apply it.
And then a crucial warning. Stay inside. Don't leave the house until morning.
Absolutely critical. Once that blood is on the door, you stay put.
So this whole blood ritual, it's not just symbolic.
Well, it is symbolic, but the text makes it clear it's a sign, a very practical one. But before we get to the why, the instructions for the meal itself are just as precise.
Right. It's not just cook the lamb. It has to be roasted over fire that same night.
The whole thing, too. Head, legs, internal organs, all roasted.
And eaten with specific things.
Yes. Bitter herbs and unleavened bread. That's key. And definitely not raw or boiled in water. Only roasted.
Okay. And no leftovers, right?
None.
Yeah.
Anything left by morning has to be burned completely.
And how they eat it. That's specific, too, isn't it?
Very telling. Eat in haste. Like you're ready to leave any second.
How so?
Cloak tucked into your belt, sandals on your feet, staff in your hand. It's a picture of readiness, urgency, not a relaxed dinner party.
So all these steps, the lamb, the blood, the specific meal, eating in a rush, what's the point? The text tells us.
It tells us directly. It is the Lord's Passover. That's the name given.
The Lord's Passover, meaning?
Meaning the Lord himself will pass through Egypt that night. He will strike down every firstborn human and animal, and he'll execute judgment against the gods of Egypt.
A terrifying night. So the blood.
The blood on the doorframes is the protection. It's the sign. When the Lord passes through and sees the blood.
He passes over that house.
Exactly. He passes over. The destructive plague won't touch them. Their deliverance from this final, awful plague is directly tied to obeying this command, putting the blood on the door.
Wow. And this isn't just a one-off historical event they're describing.
Not at all. The text immediately says, this day, this event, it has to be remembered, commemorated.
As a festival.
A festival to the Lord forever, a lasting ordinance for all generations to come. It's meant to be relived, remembered through this specific ceremony.
Which connects directly to the next thing commanded, right? The Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Precisely. They're tied together. The text explicitly links it. Observe this feast because on this very day, the Lord brought Israel's divisions out of Egypt.
Okay, so how does that feast work?
It lasts for 7 days, starts on the evening of the 14th, same time the Passover lamb is dealt with, and goes until the evening of the 21st.
And the main rule?
Eat only unleavened bread, bread made without yeast.
And they're serious about the no yeast rule.
Extremely serious. On day 1, you have to remove all yeast, all leaven from your houses. Completely.
And if someone breaks that rule,
The consequence is severe. Anyone who eats anything with yeast during those 7 days
yes.
must be cut off from Israel. Just excluded from the community. Doesn't matter if you're native born or an alien living there.
Wow. Cut off. That's intense.
It is. No yeast found anywhere in your house for 7 days. Eat nothing with yeast wherever you live. It's absolute.
And the symbolism there. Yeast representing maybe corruption or puffiness.
Yeah.
But also just the speed, right?
Exactly. Both things are probably true. It's purification, but it's also literally because they left in such a hurry they couldn't wait for bread to rise. Being cut off was basically excommunication in that context, a huge deal.
And besides the food, there are special days within this feast.
Yes, sacred assemblies, holy gatherings.
When?
On the first day of the feast and again on the 7th day. On those 2 days, no regular work. The only exception is preparing the food you need to eat.
Okay, so these are the instructions. Then the text shifts to Moses actually doing it.
Right. He calls all the elders of Israel together.
And tells them what? Repeats the command.
He does. Tells them, select the lamb, slaughter it, take the blood with the hyssop, put it on the doorframe.
And repeats the warning too.
Yes, crucially. Not one of you shall go out the door of his house until morning. Stay inside behind the blood.
And he reminds them of the promise.
Powerfully. When the Lord goes through Egypt, he'll see the blood, he will pass over your door, and he will not allow the destroyer.
The destroyer. Like an angel of death.
The text just calls it the destroyer, the force carrying out the plague. The Lord won't let it enter the houses marked with blood.
And how did the people react? Did they argue?
Question. The text is very direct. It simply says the Israelites did just what the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. Complete obedience in that moment.
And then it happens.
At midnight, exactly as foretold, the 10th plague strikes.
The Lord strikes down all the firstborn in Egypt. Every single one.
From Pharaoh's own son, the heir to the throne, down to the firstborn son of the captive in the dungeon, even the firstborn of all the livestock. Just total devastation.
The scale is unimaginable. What was the reaction in Egypt?
Chaos, grief. Pharaoh, his officials, everyone, they woke up in the night. And the sound, the text says, was a loud wailing throughout the land.
Because
there wasn't a house, an Egyptian house, where someone wasn't dead. Chilling.
That finally breaks Pharaoh.
Completely. He calls for Moses and Aaron right there in the middle of the night. Urgent. Desperate.
What does he say?
Up. Leave. Get out from among my people, you and the Israelites. Go, worship the Lord just like you asked.
He finally gives in completely.
And more. Take your flocks, take your herds, and go. And then, amazingly, he adds, and also bless me. Like, he's acknowledging their God's power.
Wow. And the Egyptian people.
They were just as desperate for the Israelites to leave. They urged them to hurry, saying basically, get out or we're all going to die. Sheer terror.
So everyone wants them gone. And the Israelites move fast.
Instantly, they grab their dough. Remember, it has no yeast in it yet.
Right, the unleavened dough.
They wrap up the kneading troughs with the dough inside in their clothes, sling it over their shoulders, and they're ready.
And they also get supplies from the Egyptians.
Yes. Just as they were told earlier, they ask the Egyptians for silver, gold, and clothing.
And the Egyptians give it to them, even now.
Yes. The text says the Lord made the Egyptians look favorably on them. So in the midst of their own tragedy, they hand over their wealth. The Israelites effectively plunder Egypt as they leave.
And the journey begins. Immediately.
From Ramesses to Sukkoth. And the numbers are staggering. About 600,000 men on foot.
And that's just the men.
Besides women and children. And interestingly, the text adds, many other people went up with them.
A mixed multitude, not just Israelites.
Seems so. Along with huge amounts of livestock, flocks, and herds, it was a massive movement of people and animals.
And that unleavened dough they carried.
They baked it into unleavened cakes along the way because, again, they were driven out so fast they had no time to prepare regular food, no time for leavening. Haste defined the moment.
The text then gives this really precise time marker.
Yeah, it states the Israelites had lived in Egypt for exactly 430 years.
430 years to the day.
To the very day, it says. On that specific day, all the Lord's divisions left Egypt. The timing is presented as deliberate, divinely ordained.
And that night itself becomes significant for the future.
Definitely. Because the Lord kept watch, kept vigil that night to bring them out, the Israelites are commanded to keep vigil on this night every year for all generations to honor the Lord. It's a night of active remembrance.
So after the story of the departure, the chapter circles back to rules About the Passover itself.
Yeah.
Future observances.
Right, more regulations. Who can actually participate in this core ceremony going forward?
And the first rule is pretty blunt.
No foreigner is to eat of it. Simple start.
But then it gets nuanced right away. What about slaves?
A slave that an Israelite has bought can eat it, but there's a condition.
Which is,
He has to be circumcised first. Only then.
what about people just living among them, like temporary residents or hired workers?
Explicitly excluded. They may not eat of it. Just living nearby isn't enough for this particular ritual.
And the rules for the meal itself are reinforced.
Yes. Eat it inside one house. Don't take any of the meat outside that house.
And that detail about the bones again.
Mm-hmm.
Do not break any of the bones. It's stated very clearly, a specific detail that resonates later in the biblical narrative for sure.
And it's not a private thing?
No, the whole community of Israel must celebrate it. It's a collective defining act. So what if someone who isn't an Israelite, an alien living among them, wants to join in, wants to celebrate this Passover?
There's a path, but it's specific.
What do they have to do?
If an alien wants to celebrate the Lord's Passover, all the males in his household must be circumcised.
All of them.
All the males. Then, after that, he can take part just like someone born in the land.
So circumcision is the absolute requirement for participation.
Absolutely. The text repeats, no uncircumcised male may eat of it, period.
And this applies equally.
Yes. The same law applies to the native-born and to the alien living among you. For Passover participation, the requirement is the same. Circumcision defines inclusion in this covenant act.
Okay. And the chapter ends by emphasizing obedience again.
It really does. It loops back. All the Israelites did just what the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron.
And connects that obedience to the outcome.
Directly. And on that very day, the Lord brought the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions. It frames the Exodus not as a panicked escape, but as an ordered departure, enabled by their adherence to these detailed commands.
So pulling it all together from Exodus 12, it's this incredibly detailed picture. Specific rituals, the lamb, the blood, the meal. Then this devastating judgment, the rapid departure, and setting up these permanent ways to remember it all.
Exactly. It's the birth certificate of a nation, in a way written in ritual and divine action. And the text even gives them the words for future generations.
Right, when your kids ask, what does this ceremony mean?
The answer is prescribed. It is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt and spared our homes when he struck down the Egyptians. The meaning is locked into that act of protection, enabled by obedience.
It really underscores how identity for this community is forged through shared experience, yes, but also through these very specific shared actions and commands.
And that insistence on precise obedience for deliverance, coupled with the really strict ritual rules, especially circumcision, for who gets to participate in remembering it, well, it leaves you with something to think about.
Yeah.
What does it really mean for a community to define itself? It's very belonging, not just by a shared past, but by strict adherence to divine commands and participation in these powerful symbolic acts of protection and covenant. It's a deep question about identity and inclusion.